trucks so rare, it's almost like finding a unicorn. Forgotten masterpieces where rugged meets rarity. These are not your everyday trucks, they're legends lost in time, waiting to be rediscovered. So, here are some of the most rare and forgotten pickup trucks that were once masterpieces.
The CJ8. Picture this. It's the early 80s and the compact truck market is booming. Everyone's looking for that perfect mix of a rugged off-roader and a handy truck. Enter the Jeep Scrambler hitting the scene on March 25, 1981, thanks to the folks at American Motors Corporation, AMC. They were on a mission to stand toe-to-toe with the big guns like Chevrolet, Ford, and Chrysler, who were already nailing the compact pickup game and giving the Japanese automakers a run for their money. Now, before the Scrambler, Jeep was all about the CJ7, which were cool but just didn't cut it for the truck scene that was quickly picking up pace. So the Scrambler was AMC's play to get in on the action. But here's the thing. Despite its awesome combo of a 1,500-pound payload and being a beast off-road, the Scrambler was a rare sight, making up just about 1.9% of all Jeep CJ sales over its 43-year history. Yeah, less than 28,000 of these bad boys were built between 1981 and 1986. Back then, not everyone saw the genius in this hybrid of durability and utility. Fast forward to today, and the Scrambler has flipped the script. It's gone from underdog to sought-after classic, a real treasure for collectors. This isn't just about being a rare find. It's about respect for what the Scrambler represents. It's got fans from all walks of life, from farmers and ranchers to surfers and weekend adventurers, and even the daily commuter looking for something out of the ordinary. Sadly, when 1987 rolled around and Jeep decided to overhaul its design with the new Wrangler, waving goodbye to the old CJ framework, the Scrambler's days were numbered. But that's also what's made it such a gem today. Under the hood, the Scrambler packed a punch with either a Pontiac 151 four-cylinder or an AMC 258 straight-six engine. Whether you were shifting through its 4- or 5-speed manual transmissions or cruising with the 3-speed automatic, this truck was ready for action. And let's not forget the tough Dana 300 transfer case and the reliable Dana 30 front and AMC Corporate 20 rear axles. So there you have it. The Jeep Scrambler, a legend in its own right, bridging the gap between the world of utility trucks and off-road warriors and laying down the tracks for the modern-day Jeep Gladiator. 1937 Hudson Terraplane pickup. This isn't your average vehicle transformation from a passenger car to a truck. It's more like it was always meant to be this rugged, overbuilt marvel that finally got to show its true colors. Let's rewind a bit. The Terraplane wasn't just any model. It was the brainchild of the Hudson Motor Car Company, making its grand entrance into the world between 1932 and 1938. Initially launched as a model by Hudson in 1932, the Terraplane quickly became its own brand, known for light-duty commercial vehicles that didn't break the bank. Back in its heyday, Hudson was praised for merging sleek passenger car vibes with the toughness of a work truck. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Picture this. A sedan that's been transformed by chopping off everything behind the front seat and sticking in a simple cargo bed between those rear fenders. The result? An absolute pre-war stunner with sleek, streamlined bodywork and an art moderne grille that just screams elegance. Inside, though, it's all business. A straightforward bench seat, rubber floor mat, and a gearshift that controls the synchro shift 3-speed transmission. The dashboard is pretty minimalistic too, with a big speedometer, fuel, and temperature gauges, plus a couple of warning lights keeping an eye on the oil pressure and charging system. But it's what's under the hood and beneath the body that really sets the Terraplane apart. Its chassis features monobuilt construction, think robust boxed frame rails, and a massive X-member in the center, making it sturdy enough to handle serious weight without breaking a sweat. The ride is low, with running boards sitting below the frame rails, offering easy access to a surprisingly low tailgate. Under the hood, it's powered by a 3.5-liter flathead engine delivering between 96 to 112 horsepower. And with its 3-speed manual transmission, rear-wheel drive, and drum brakes, it was built to last. So why isn't the Terraplane a household name today? Despite outselling Hudson's other models in the mid-1930s and helping the company through the Great Depression, management decided to pull the plug on Terraplane after 1938, favoring the Hudson brand. Unfortunately, this decision sent Terraplane into the history books, and Hudson itself vanished just 16 years later after merging with Nash Kelvinator. Finding a 1937 Hudson Terraplane pickup today is like looking for a needle in a haystack. They're incredibly rare. Made for just 2 years, these pickups are now the stuff of collectors' dreams, with barely any up for sale at any given time. 1988 Nissan Hardbody Desert Runner. A truck that's as cool as it sounds. Picture this. Nissan, fresh off their victories in some of the toughest off-road races out there, think the Baja 1000, Gold Coast 300, and Mint 400, decides to celebrate in style. They don't just slap a new sticker on a regular truck and call it a day. They go all out and create the Desert Runner, a truck that's basically an off-road beast you can just buy and drive straight out of the showroom. This isn't your average pickup. It's decked out with everything you'd need for the wild. Big 31-inch tires, sturdy tubular bumpers and step bars, a front bull bar equipped with driving lights for those late-night adventures, and a front skid plate to protect its underbelly. And because it's all about that Baja race vibe, it sports racing decals, a massive bed-mounted roll cage with more driving lights, a spot for your spare tire, and a tailgate net. Cargo space? Nissan didn't really put that at the top of the list when designing this one. Under the hood, every Desert Runner packs a punch with Nissan's 3-liter VG30 V6 engine, pushing out 145 horsepower and 164 pound-feet of torque. This power goes to all 4 wheels through a tough 2-speed transfer case and a 5-speed manual transmission, with a limited slip differential to make sure you're always moving forward no matter the terrain. Now you might be wondering, if this truck is so awesome, why isn't it more famous? Well, it's rare, like really rare. Nissan only made about 1,000 of these beasts for the 1988 model year. This exclusivity makes the Desert Runner one of the most coveted versions of the Nissan D21 chassis. The Desert Runner is a niche vehicle, through and through. Designed with off-road racing in mind, it wasn't exactly the go-to choice for someone needing a versatile and practical pickup for daily chores. Its unique features, like the roll cage and spare tire mounted in the bed, might not make much sense if you're just cruising through the city. Despite flying under the radar, the Desert Runner has a special spot in the hearts of Japanese car enthusiasts and collectors. Its rarity, combined with its standout features and off-road prowess, make it a prized find. Whenever one pops up at auction, it's a pretty big deal. The 1952 International L120 pickup truck. This bad boy was part of the iconic L series by International Harvester, a lineup that pretty much had everything, from your handy light pickups and delivery trucks all the way to the big rigs, the tractor trailers. So back in 1949, International Harvester decided it was time to freshen things up and introduce the L series, waving goodbye to the older KB series. The L120 was a step above its little brother, the L110, boasting better suspension, tougher axles, and could haul more than a ton. Not just a local hero, this series also hit the roads down under in Australia, going by the AL series name. But as all good things must come to an end, the L series made way for the R series in 1952. Under the hood, the L120 was powered by a beast of an engine, the 220 cubic inch straight 6 Silver Diamond, driving the rear wheels. It featured a spacious Comfo Vision cab that could fit 3 adults comfortably, boasted 2-piece rear windows, and had a sleek hood that opened from either side. Talking specs. The 1952 model packed a 3,605 cc, or 220 cubic inch engine, kicking out 101 horsepower, with the engine up front and pushing power to the rear wheels. The design work? That was done by Hercules. Despite its solid engineering, the L120's looks might have been its weak spot. It had those rounded sides like many trucks of the era, but its grille? A bit too complex for some tastes. This could be why the L120 isn't as celebrated today as some other vintage trucks of its era. Today, the L120 is a treasure in the collector's world. A bit of a rare find with not as many made compared to its peers. Over the last 5 years, only 17 have been reported sold, making it quite the catch for vintage truck enthusiasts. So there you have it. The 1952 International L120 pickup truck. A slice of automotive history that highlights International Harvester's knack for engineering. Even if it's not the talk of the town today, it still holds a cherished spot among collectors and vintage truck fans alike. Tempo Matador. Picture this. Hamburg, Germany, late 1940s. Europe's getting back on its feet after the war, and there's a big need for practical, reliable vehicles. Enter the Tempo Matador, rolling off the production lines of Vidal and Sona from 1949 to 1951. This wasn't just any truck. It was a game-changer with its front-wheel drive and a trusty Volkswagen engine under the hood. Yep, you heard that right. A front-wheel drive truck in the 1950s, powered by a 25-horsepower VW engine. This thing was ahead of its time. The Matador was all about practicality. With its ZF non-synchro 4-speed gearbox and the engine right at the front, it offered something a bit different on the post-war roads. Over just a couple of years, from 1949 to 1951, Tempo churned out 1,362 of these bad boys. But then, the plot thickens. Volkswagen, seeing the success of the Matador, thought, "Hey, why not make our own truck?" And just like that, they stopped supplying engines to Tempo. Talk about a plot twist. So, Tempo had to pivot. They went with a British Austin water-cooled 4-cylinder engine for their next moves. But let's not forget, the Matador is a rare beast today. Imagine, out of all those made, less than 10 are thought to exist now. That's some serious collector's gold right there. But why isn't the Matador a household name in the car world? Well, it's a mix of things. Its short production run, for starters, plus the fact that Volkswagen kind of left them in the dust when they decided to roll out their own truck, the Transporter. That move alone might have cast a long shadow over the Matador's legacy. In wrapping up, the Tempo Matador story is like a hidden gem in automotive history. It had innovation, practicality, and even a bit of drama with the whole engine saga. Even though it didn't become a legend on the roads, it's a fascinating chapter for car enthusiasts and a rare treasure for collectors. The Ford Skyranger. Imagine a truck so unique there are less than 20 of these bad boys around the globe. Yep, we're talking unicorn-level rare here. So, what's the deal with the Skyranger? Let's hit the rewind button back to the 1980s. Ford was pumping out the F-Series trucks like hotcakes. These trucks were the talk of the town with their boxy looks and growling engines. But by the late 80s, Ford started jazzing things up with sleeker designs and fancier features. Despite rolling out over 150 truck models during that decade, none of them really broke the mold. Until the early 90s. Enter the Ford Skyranger. This wasn't your average pickup truck. Ford went all out by handing over the reins to an external team to bring this concept to life. But despite their efforts, the Skyranger didn't quite hit it off with the masses, leading Ford to put the brakes on production after just 17 units. Now let's talk specs. The 1991 Skyranger wasn't just any pickup truck. It packed a punch with a 4-liter V6 engine, pushing out 155 horsepower. Pair that with a 5-speed manual transmission and 4-wheel drive, and you've got yourself a truck that could tackle just about anything. But here's the kicker. The Skyranger came with a convertible extended cab. Imagine cruising with the top down in a pickup truck. Pretty cool, right? But why did the Skyranger fade into obscurity? Well, it was a niche product to begin with. A convertible pickup truck is not something you see every day. Plus, outsourcing its production meant only a handful were ever made. These factors combined made the Sky Ranger more of a myth than a mainstream hit. The 1952 Mercedes-Benz 170 pickup truck. This is a truck that almost nobody knows about, but it's a piece of automotive history with a story worth telling. So let's get the backstory. After World War II, Mercedes-Benz was picking up the pieces and started rolling out the Mercedes-Benz 170 in various styles. Among these was the pickup truck version, which kicked off way back in 1936. It quickly became a bestseller, showing that Mercedes knew a thing or two about making versatile vehicles, not just luxury cars. Now picture this, a 1952 model with a modest 1.7-liter engine under the hood, churning out 38 horsepower. This workhorse came with a 4-speed manual transmission, making it a pretty reliable ride back in the day. And for those who were into diesel, there was a version just for them, boasting a slightly beefier 1.8-liter engine. Despite its modest specs by today's standards, back then, it was quite the machine. But why don't we hear much about this cool ride today? Well, a few reasons. First off, Mercedes-Benz wasn't exactly famous for its trucks back then, like it is for its sleek cars today. Plus, the pickup wasn't mass-produced like other models, making it a rare sight. And let's be honest, the tech and design of the 170 pickup might seem a bit quaint compared to the flashy vehicles we see now. Speaking of rare, let's talk numbers. Only 35 of these pickups were made in 1952, all for customers in Switzerland. That's it. If you find one today, you've hit the vintage jackpot. There's talk that less than 80 of these beauties were ever put together, making any sighting a rare treat.